Dakota and I finished Hell or High Winter by Andrew Rubin. This is a Hermes Persephone Greek mythology modern retelling. A lot going on in that sentence, but it was a lot of cool things in one. Greetings from the underworld. And it's a postcard because Hermes sends postcards because the messenger got. Little bookmark action.
I think
Double-sided, of course.
I think he wins the merch or the swag. I think he wins the swag.
Wins the swag? Wow.
We've gotten cool books. We've gotten cool books and cool bookmarks. Brian Wilson, Power of the Stars, gave us tons of bookmarks, but I don't think we've ever gotten a postcard before that is in the theme of the book.
Trying to think.
I know
Elements
that
of Time.
WK. Do I even have Elements of Time? I think you just have Elements of Time.
It's all packed.
Elements of Time was good. When are we getting book 2? But anyways, judging a book by its cover.
Pretty dope. I like the compass with the frost and the fire.
Yeah, I like the simplistic cover. It doesn't tell you much about what kind of book this is, which is fine. Covers don't have to do that. But as far as like judging it by its cover, I'd be like, I don't know that I would look at it and be like, I want that. I'd be like, what's this about? Is this a nautical themed book? Is what it was?
Does it look the same with the jacket off, or is it like blank?
Yeah, it looks the same. That's a good question though. I hadn't even thought to do that.
That's what I'm here for. All right. So first category, we have well-developed characters. And I don't know.
I had really
It's
mixed
weird.
feelings on this category.
I have positive feelings, but I feel like there's like a tinge of negative. So in my head, I gave this a 0.75. By the way, all my notes got deleted off of our sheet, and I'm really pissed because I did them at work. I'm like, oh, look at me. I'm getting paid to write my notes. Haha. No, my notes were deleted. So haha. But I think 0.75. I think Hermes and Persephone are our main characters, obviously. Their development, I think, like, was really well done. I think that might be it. A lot of the side characters, like, kind of just vanished and didn't have much else, I guess. Like, the Archangel didn't really, I mean, he kind of, like, changed his ways because, like, he had to because he entered a deal, but I didn't feel like his character himself changed. So I don't know if that's, like, I want to give it the full. Am I being too harsh giving it a 0.75? Waiting for Dakota to say something?
I didn't give it a point. I'm going to talk. I think I'm landing on 0.5. I'm going to talk and I'm going to see where I land out. I thought that Hermes and Persephone's character development I thought that it was like his self-reflection, his internal growth from egotistical butthole to
Really well done.
loving brother. Fantastic. Really well done. But there's a lot going on in this book that was like more than just Hermes and Persephone. We didn't get a lot of development on, which I had a hard time with. Like we got the golems, we got the archangels, we got all like, I feel like we could have gotten some really quick and dirty, quick and easy character work on a lot of the underworld characters that like shows us some peripheral growth of like the world. Like his ex, Lily is the Leith, but
of the river goddess.
I forget her name, but it was the one that washed away memories. Anyways, I feel like we could have gotten some quick and dirty development from her and from Charon. Like we could have gotten some like a little bit of self-reflection from them. But I don't know. I feel like we just had all these side characters that were pretty impactful to the story that were just suddenly like poof.
Yeah, I feel like they affected Hermes, which is like the point of a lot of these characters. And I feel like they did that well, but they themselves didn't necessarily change. They were just a catalyst for something. For Hermes' development, which
tough.
Works.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Is that like I
That's
need more? Did I want more? Because Hermes was good, but our main characters don't just exist in a box.
Pandora does.
That was insane. Anyways, I'm gonna go with 0.75 as well because it worked, but I still don't think it was perfect character work. Hermes' character work was perfect, but I just like. The characters around him, I feel like need a little more. Onward and upwards.
Upwards and onwards. Originality and creativity.
You didn't give this a full point. Interesting.
In my initial notes, I didn't. Because it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like what was done was fresh, but I feel like it's hard to give it unique when you have a Greek story about going into the underworld to save Persephone. It's a unique spin on it.
I didn't think about that. Dang.
It's a unique spin, and I feel like what was done well, and it was fresh because it was a modernization of it. So I feel like it, in that instance, almost I want to give it the full point for that. I just feel like once I found out it was like a Hermes saving Persephone thing, I'm like, leave Persephone alone.
Leave her be.
This poor woman.
She just
Um,
keeps getting dragged to the underworld.
so I feel like that's really just a gripe on my part, not necessarily like it was poorly done there. I think that was
Yeah,
more so just me.
I enjoyed it. So I gave it a I thought it was fresh and fun, but I do see what you're saying. It's a lot of reused tropes. The only thing that I'm not sure of is I don't know that we've seen a story, a portrayal of Hermes like this. So that was
He deserves the light.
yeah. So that was cool. But I
You
also
know what?
don't
I'm
know.
gonna rescind my 0.75. I'm giving it a 1
I know that the
because
oh, that's not Hermes. That's Apollo.
I deleted all your notes on accident.
How could you just
Just
hit
kidding, I went back.
undo?
Um, I'm giving it a full point because of like the whole aspect of mixing all the different religions in it as well was
Yeah,
really well
that
done.
was cool.
So I don't think it deserves a dot point just because it was
Yeah, I gave it a full point here. Easy one. I was trying to decide how I was rating this next category because I had a little bit of beef, but I always have to do this like in the moment decision about whether or not my beef with the storyline is actually some beef with pacing. I think I have some beef with pacing, but
okay. So
I
tell
don't
us you're
know.
not beef.
Maybe I don't have beef with pacing.
I'll talk first. I thought the story was engaging throughout. There was no point I was bored. At like the bare minimum, I was not bored. Right. I thought I was constantly excited to get like the different gods and like have them interact and everything like that. Even though it really was only in the beginning and end, I feel like with the way this story was, it introduced us to the world and then it brought us down to like, hey, we're a Greek myth. And then at the end, it's like, okay, now we're back out. Now we're here. So we got to see a lot of cool characters. So it's every time like a new thing happened, I was excited to see because I knew like just because of the way his writing is and the way he told the story, we were gonna get another cool character, like Odysseus showing up, and like got to see Charon, and that like got us on the
Yeah,
right Leif.
I
So yeah, I'm giving it the full point here for me. For me, it was engaging, which is about to be funny for my next point.
I'm about to jump ahead, which I hate. My brain doesn't like it when I double dip into categories ahead of time, but I was having a tough time deciding if I had beef. There was a gap in the beginning of the book where I felt like it. I felt like the Hermes what's the word I'm looking for? Bender, the Hermes bender of like I'm just drunk and doing drugs and on
I'm
the
just a
lamb.
poor boy from a poor family.
I felt like the bender went a little too long, and I was like, "What are we doing? We're just on a bender. We've been on a bender for a little while now. We gonna
He's
do
immortal though. What's time to him?
that's true, but I'm not immortal, so what's time to me?"
Apparently, really important.
But I don't know because the hard part about that is like I was engaged. The heist was super fun. I really enjoyed the heist, and then I was engaged like for all the underworld stuff. There's a little gap in the like 30% range, 20 to 30% where I was not engaged, but I'm not again, I'm not sure if that's pacing. If I felt like the pacing was a little bit off when it was just him on his bender, or if it was
Mm.
the storyline. And so I'm having a really tough time deciding because I was gonna put it with pacing, but there was a brief spot in the beginning where I'm gonna put it with pacing. I've talked
It
myself into
can be a
pacing it.
problem with both.
I could give both a 0.75, and then that's a collective 0.5. Or I could just give one a 0.5. I think I'm giving both 0.75.
There you go.
That's a good call because then it's less harsh on both categories. Because ultimately, like, it was well written. So it wasn't like I am docking a point here. It's just I had a little bit of tough time with that little gap.
That's fair.
But anyways, so for engaging
Got it.
storyline, I've said all the things. I thought it was engaging. It was fun. Enjoyed all the gods. But there was that little spot in the beginning where I was like, what are we doing?
The heck.
The story end and wrap up.
I gave it a 0.
That's crazy. I require explanation. Expand on that.
I just really didn't enjoy it. Like from like a personal standpoint, just thought it was not good. In like having Persephone dying, and then he's like, "Oh wait, I could just make her throw up the seed she ate hours ago, or whatever, how long ever long it's been. Even if it's been like 10 minutes, like I like that happened. I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding. And like it, if you think about like Greek myth, like stupid shit like that happens, whatever. But I'm like, really? And then even like the final like battle thing when they're fighting like, uh, what was the last one alive?
Oh, it wasn't.
She's
It was it. It wasn't. It was Electo, right? It was the A one. It wasn't the first one he
was it
killed.
Electome?
I always have to look up the
Megara
name
was the
of.
first one that died.
They're in Hades one.
I know.
Fury Sisters, Hades.
Selecto, it's like Persephone and Megara, I think, right?
I think Electa was the mean one that was the last one alive. The first one to
Whoever
die
was
was Megara, right? And then
yeah.
Tisiphone was the second one to die. Yeah. But
So,
Electa was the last one.
I just that whole, like, the final battle and stuff, I really just didn't enjoy either, like, the way it went down, I'm like, "This just it, like, led to this?" I don't know, this is a very, like, subjective point for me, but I remember finishing it, and I was like,
Dang,
"Ah,
you gave it a 0.
a 0."
We gave uh arch nemesis book Catabasis like a half point, and because we were like it ended.
That was subjective too, I was just like, "Thank God that ended." It was terrible, it needed a point just to be yeah, I would've given it a full point if it was 200 pages less.
Dang. Well,
But I was being harsh here, but I just wasn't I didn't like the ending. And not to say like I wouldn't like the next book because I the cliffhanger that it gave us, I was like, okay, like we're leading into something cool. But the having a cool cliffhanger doesn't make the ending that happened for this book one good enough for me. So give it a zero. I'm sorry, Andrew. You can blame Dakota. I don't know. You haven't said anything about your point or what
because
you
now
gave it
I'm
yet.
very conflicted because I feel like a 0 is strong. That's
Go
like
with your
some.
heart. Go with your
I
heart.
I didn't. I had so I had some beef with some unanswered questions, but I'm my hill to die on. My harsher spot in this is world building, but I didn't have like the ending was pretty typical, like happy ending. I didn't really have any issue with it. I mean, like you said, like silly stuff like that happens in Greek mythology all the time. Like the Titan throwing up all of his living godchildren. So I don't know. While it was like there was a lot going on in the back half, and it wasn't always like straightforward and clear. And I had some beef with that in other areas, but the ending I didn't have any problem with it. It was a pretty standard stereotypical ending, and it left room for book two. So gave it a point. It's like
Okay.
this is the starkest difference I think we've ever had. That's crazy.
It's bound to happen eventually.
That's crazy.
You're in.
But the next category is where I
You're
was
in.
harsher, and I still only gave it a half point. But now I feel like I need to balance the scales of fate and give it a 0 here. But I gave it a half point in world building because I felt like there was a ton going on that was not explained outside of it just being a typical Greek myth. And so like I didn't understand, and I don't know if I missed something, but there's a ton going on with like the voice inside of him that gave him strength, and the spiritual realm, and there were just like a lot of things that he was drawing other energy from and referencing like vaguely as like I just have to accept that like none of this means anything and I can be better. And as far as his like internal reflective character development, it worked, but as far as like actually solving plot points of the story, I had a really hard time understanding what like the background was.
I think at one point they did kind of explain the fact that like there's like a pool of energy kind of thing that things like come from. And I think he like tapped into like another religion was
Yeah,
my the way he did it was like he tapped into like some sort of like Buddhist tenant or something
yeah, and
or
I
what have
got
you.
the
And I
same kind
think
of
it
vibe.
explained it.
I got the same kind of vibe, but I felt like, and maybe I just missed something. It's always possible. We read a lot of books, so maybe I missed something. But
I've never read a
I
book.
felt like that while I also got that vibe, I felt like I was missing like a clear explanation of like who maybe this I either okay needed one of two things personally, and like I said, I could have totally missed something. I either needed better setup for a future book about like an invisible puppet master from another realm, like all of the questions of that Hermes had of like who created the gods, are there other realms, are there other gods, like he had a lot of big picture questions that we didn't get answers to. So I either needed like more setup for there to be like in like something else behind the scenes that's going to lead us into a book two of looking more at the big picture, right? Like who made the gods? What's the purpose of this now? As because I feel like a lot of the big question was like why do the gods matter? Like what now for the gods? And I don't feel like I understood an answer
I
for that. So
almost
I
feel like there wasn't an answer. And I feel like the whole point is what happens when gods question if gods are important type thing. Like I think that was like a huge theme. There might be something in the future like that is higher up or that we don't know about or that we will get or that we missed maybe. But I feel like in my head it was like supposed to be unanswered. But I can see it, I guess, like you bring it up that way. Like now my brain's like, oh, maybe there like will be something. But my head initially was like, oh, he's just questioning everything that he
Yeah.
came to know.
So like I said, it's weird and it's tough to describe this because from a self-reflective standpoint, all of Hermes' big questions, that's a cool ornament. All of Hermes' big questions made sense on his internal journey and his journey of self-discovery, but also it had effect on the plot. So it was more than just internal. There were some external factors, and the external factors is where I was confused. Like he had the spiritual realm, spiritual journey, where he saw this like prophecy of the future
Yeah, that was interesting.
and so like I just don't know. Like I said, I either needed that to be only internal or the external to have a little more setup as far as like some sort of like it can be mysterious. I don't need a straightforward answer, but I think I need to understand that I don't have the answer. And I think right now I'm like not certain if I have the answer or not.
So I gave this a 0.75. I gave it the full point in setting because I'm like, I have no issues with the setting at all. But I feel like the world building I could have used a little bit more on like the other gods and like how they all typically interact. Like we got a lot there, but I feel like I just wanted more of the other gods. Like we very heavily focused on the Greek myth. And that's the main point of it. But like there's so many other cool things happening. Like I wanted more of that, which I think we'll
Yeah.
get in the future. So that's why I give it the 0.75.
And the tough part about it for me is that it was a serious book. So like I feel like I need less on like the other gods and other religions if it's like happy go lucky, right? If it's just like if it's nothing but like fun. But when it's got like serious themes, I feel like I need to understand more. Like the
What book have we read that's just been fun?
this is
Nothing.
me looking longingly at the bookshelf. I need to read King Sorrow still. I need to force you to do that.
Can't force me to do anything. We've never read something just fun.
Oh, you know what? I have.
I read Goodnight Moon.
I've read a lot of lit RPG slop that's fun, but it's also slop.
Okay,
Which
well,
is
we
like,
haven't read it. Yeah, well, and you've read your Colleen Hoover.
why are you hurting me? Why are you being so
You hurt
mean to
yourself
me?
by reading the slop.
You're right. But I mean, like, okay, some of the lit RPG slop that's fun. It doesn't do a lot of complex stuff. It's just meant to be fun. It's just meant to like play around with
That's
fun
fair.
video
I'm just
game
giving you a hard
magic.
time because it's just really easy.
I know. I'm easy.
You are easy.
Anyways, it was like the god that he was friends with in the beginning, the god of chaos. That he was the one of the African gods of chaos.
The one start with
remember his name.
E.
Ishu, Eshu.
I'm not gonna remember.
Like that whole their relationship was fun, but also there was like an air of seriousness there. And he was like, my people have been wronged. I'm taking this stuff back for my people. And I just felt like when you go into seriousness, I feel like I need to understand more. But I don't know. This can all be subjective. It can all boil down to me being nitpicky. We can totally move on. I gave it a half point. You gave it a 0.75.
All right, the horse is dead.
The horse has been beaten. Pacing
Pacing,
structure.
structure, baby. I think structure was very structured, and not to a fault. I almost wanted to say initially it was structured to a fault because it was like you could tell when we got from point to point to point. But I feel like the structure was good, so I didn't have an issue with that. So I'm just talking.
It wasn't immersion breaking.
Pacing, we have different feels here. You thought the back half of
interesting.
the book was better. I thought the beginning half of the book was better, and now we're here.
It's very
So
interesting.
I gave it a 0.75 because I didn't think the pacing was overall that bad. There were a couple parts where I was like, this is kind of dragging and repetitive. Like the whole he was on a bender scene like you're talking about. But I think overall I'm giving it a 0.75.
Yeah, that's where I landed
category.
because I split my cut point between this engaging storyline and the pacing. But very interestingly, I did feel like almost too much happened in the back half, but it was like a stark contrast for me to the front half. Like I liked the heist a lot. Probably my favorite like part of the book. Weirdly, I think the heist was. I think he was on.
I thought the book was gonna be more about those types of things.
Same.
Because it started like that, and
Maybe
then
it was a case of false expectations. But I thought it was going to be like the way that like we were getting a feel for Hermes' character, and then he was like pulling this heist off and pulling this like prank on the Vatican. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was super fun.
He was very heavy trickster god in the beginning, and then his whole point was to develop and
to
be
grow
away from that. But I feel like besides that beginning, we didn't get any tricksteriness for the most part.
Yeah. So in the front half, I enjoyed the heist, and then I felt like it kind of lagged and stalled out. And it was like, I feel like you're trying to reiterate that Hermes is a piece of trash who's on a bender, but like you did that in a chapter that he was in the bar. We don't also need the bar and the hooker and the motel and the drugs. Like
We needed all that. I
we
was
did.
fine with the bar and the hotel and the hooker and the drugs.
You're like, why can't that be me?
I mean, no.
I mean, no.
Not really at all.
The back half almost had. This is another horse that I don't need to beat to death. It almost had too much going on. It's very interestingly how it just was like boom, 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 boom in the underworld, but that was kind of the story. So
A
it
lot of
was
stuff
it was
to
a
get through.
contrast because I felt like in that gap nothing was happening and then everything was happening. I was like, well, stuff's happening.
Yeah, I feel like we had like measured development and then explosive development.
Explosive.
That's what.
Yeah.
Emotional impact. I don't know if I have much to say in this. I gave it a full point. I felt like Hermes' emotional journey itself was very good. And I could, with Persephone being like, oh, no, I have to go back down to fucking this husband I hate that stole me that I had to marry and all this
Oof.
crap. Big sad.
Yeah. I gave a full point too.
Yeah. Well done.
And then the writing style and prose. He's a good writer.
Prose is really good.
Prose was really
He's a
good.
good writer.
It's very
Especially
digestible.
that beginning part where he's convincing the Pope to defect, I guess. What?
Yeah.
Resign.
You know what? When they say that like prose is sharp, this is the kind of prose that I feel like is sharp, right? Where it's like witty and like quick and like digestible. I feel like I'm doing a poor job explaining it.
He writes as Hermes, his character talks. Like it's very.
It's just very interesting because the internet reviewers describe Gideon the Ninth prose as like sharp as nails, and I was like, no. But the prose here, I felt like sharp.
Making
like,
your mom joke randomly.
Yeah.
People are upset a little bit in the comments on that one.
Really? Which?
They're like, not like upset,
YouTube?
but on TikTok. But there was one guy that was like, oh yeah, like most like straight men don't like this and this type of humor, blah, blah. I'm like, it has nothing to do with me being a man or
weird.
straight. And you don't even know that I'm straight. The man was just like,
so weird because
it's so weird. It is because you can't just say your mom jokes and be a lesbian and also a necromancer and then be serious in the next sentence, and that makes you.
It was tone deaf. It was tonally inaccurate. It was just weird because I had no problems with it being a lesbian story and having your mom jokes because I'm a your mom joke guy. That's what she said. Guy. It was just
and
out
it
of
wasn't
place.
even. And not even out of place in like a funny, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that at this moment. He's our little prankster guy.
That would be Stanley
it just was
from The
weird
Office when he's like, and you shove it up your butt. That would be like the funny out of place.
Yeah, because it's a comedy show where a serious character finally makes a joke. This was just somebody that wanted to make a funny joke.
But prose in this was fantastic. It's very sharp.
Yeah. A George W. right here. A George W.
Very sharp.
Now watch this drive.
Fantastical.
Meaningful themes and depth. I feel like it's impossible not to get a full point in this category when you're involved. And it was not only were they like softballs, they were like there and done well. So I feel like it was
home runs.
Home runs.
The journey of self-reflection took us all on a journey of self-reflection.
Wow.
Wow. And then the last one, rereadability and lasting impact.
I would not say that this necessarily had lasting impact for me, but I do want to read the second book when it comes out. Like I enjoyed the story overall, and I think that it's leading to something really cool, but I don't think it set itself explosively in my mind, I guess. I don't know how I want to word that, but yeah, overall I really enjoyed it.
I agree. And that was what I put in my notes, was that I was pondering if I felt like this had a lasting, like a standalone. I was pondering if I felt like it stood apart as a Greek myth adaptation. I didn't. While the story itself was fresh and fun and like it was an enjoyable read, I don't know that it really was like a brand new Greek adaptation. So, but it was rereadable. I want to read the next one. I enjoyed this. This book had a lot of really strong points. Definitely, by no means gave it bad score.
You really struggled with your words at the end.
What was that? Are you bullying me again?
Yeah. So we have a combined score of 8. So an 8 out of 10, which I think it deserves. I don't think that was go right at the money there.
If you made it this far in the video, just because we have a few critical points about books doesn't mean we hate them. 8 out of 10 is a good score.
We just like to break it down. And sometimes we just are haters. Wear my shades to block out the hater.
Hater?
I barely know her.
Yeah,
Anyway,
8 out of 10, 4 on a Goodreads scale. Definitely the vibe that I had for this 4 out of 5. It's an it's an easy recommendation, but I don't think it's like the top of my list recommendation. But
I would recommend it if you're looking for like you're looking for Greek myth and for something a little bit
yeah,
different. I'd toss this your way for
yep,
sure. So,
yep.
anyways, thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Andrew, for sending Dakota the book.
There we go.
We really appreciate it, and we will see you all next time. RSQ out.